in my opinion, next year is going to be his worst year outside of his rookie year. So far, in his entire career. Next year is going to be his worst year outside of his rookie year.
The Lakers are pretty crazy, for these offseason moves, obviously. It's definitely a change compared to the last roster that they had last season. There's still familiar players like Marc Gasol, Anthony Davis, but you also have players like Dwight Howard returning and Rajon Rondo. But the real question is, on paper, this team seems legit. LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook, lots of all stars combined. But the real question is, will they be healthy enough to even win those championship desires? Did the Lakers make the smart move to not rebuild their organization, but seem like grab veterans and chase a ring? Was it the smart move for them? And personally, I think it was. Obviously, Miami Heat's my favorite team, but I do want the Lakers to win this year. I always say like Lakers in six, so I do want LeBron James to get his rings, and I do believe with this roster of old veterans, there will be enough experience for them to, win a championship. And even though there are injuries, or if injuries do pop up, I do believe that they will still at least make the finals. They'll have a better playoff than they did last season against the Suns. So yeah.
Well, yeah, and the thing about LeBron is he is the best player. He is at his best when you surround him with reliable shooters. All right, last year their shooters were Contavious Caldwell-Pope and Kyle Kuzma. Those were their top two 3-point shooters, and they just didn't produce in the playoffs, which is part of the reason that led to their downfall. And now they do have supposedly reliable shooters. They have Wayne Ellington, Carmelo Anthony, Kent Bazemore, Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn, Trevor Ariza.
Yeah.
All of these guys, all six of these guys, who can rotate and give you 35 to 38% from three on 3 or 4 attempts a game. That's exactly what you need to surround LeBron with. To help you win a championship. So I think they're headed in the right direction. Obviously, the counter to that is their defense. Is their defense going to be good enough to compete in the playoffs? When the game slows down, you come into a half-court defense. LeBron's already 37, going 38. Anthony Davis is already, gets injured a lot. You're supposedly lockdown defenders in Dwight Howard, who's supposed to lock down the paint, and Marc Gasol. Those guys are already old, well past their prime. You really don't have any above average defenders outside of LeBron and Anthony Davis, and we haven't even spoke about Russell Westbrook yet. Do you think Russell Westbrook is going to be able to play alongside LeBron James when both of them are ball dominant? Both of them are guys who, at their best, are penetrate the paint and kick out when the double comes, and if not, they're finishing in the paint. How do you see that dynamic during the season?
That's a good question because, obviously on social media and just the media and public, they didn't really see Russell Westbrook and LeBron James meshing well, but I think that they're going to play perfect together. Obviously, they kind of do have the same playing style, drive and either kick it out or just go for the hard finish, but I think those two players will complement each other well, and I do think that Russell Westbrook was a great addition. Out of all the players that were added this offseason, I think Russell Westbrook was the piece that was needed for this roster. And I think that Russell Westbrook needed to play on a team like the Lakers to, fulfill his championship desires. He tried in Houston, but let's be honest, Houston, they just play ISO with James Harden. He tried in Washington, but Washington, wasn't ideal. They barely made the playoffs. So I do believe that the Lakers with Russell Westbrook and LeBron playing together, their playing styles, even though similar, will match, and I think the chemistry will be off the charts. I do see them as a dangerous duo this upcoming season.
Now, Russ has struggled from the perimeter. That's like a nice way of putting it. These last couple of seasons, I mean, ever since 2017, he really hasn't shot the ball the same, with the same volume and the same efficiency. And that showed against Philadelphia last year, when you put someone like, you can put anybody on Russell Westbrook and dare him to shoot, and he's going to take the shot and most likely miss it. And I mean, in that series 2 years ago, Houston against the Lakers, LeBron was daring him to shoot. I mean, his shooting has become a real problem. And you're putting a non-shooter volume scorer beside LeBron James, and to me that's a huge concern. And so back to your question, can they win a championship? I say no. They're too old. They're as experienced as they may be, right? LeBron's not. I don't think he's probably, in my opinion, next year is gonna be his worst year outside of his rookie year so far in his entire career. Next year is gonna be his worst year outside of his rookie year. All right, that's my take here. The man's too old. The man is too old, and I get it. LeBron, every year we say he's too old, and every year he outperforms. But what I'm saying is it's going to be his worst year, which means he's not gonna be able to get into the paint. He might be still really strong, but he's not as agile as before. He can't make those tough finishes as well as before, and it shows. He's not finishing at such a high rate anymore. Even his left hand, he's struggling with his left hand, which he usually finishes okay with that. He's relying a little more on some mid-range game, a little more three-point shooting. Clearly not as athletic as before, but he's still a great playmaker, right? So it's really going to come down to, can he draw that double? Can he kick out to an open shooter? And can they knock that down? And I'd say, even if everything goes right on offense, even if somehow Russ figures it out, even if everyone is a reliable three-point shooter, like they're supposed to be, I think the defensive woes are just too great, man. Like, when it comes down to stretch, who are you going to have guarding Luka Doncic? Who's going to be guarding Luka Doncic? You have nobody to guard Luka Doncic. You're going to put LeBron on him? LeBron's 37. You think he has enough energy to guard Luka Doncic on one end and then carry the offense on the other end? It's going to be tough to see, and it's. I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed. A lot of people are going to be disappointed. And I am arguing against the Lakers, and I get that there's a lot of hypocrisy calling them a super team and then arguing against them, saying this is too old. I don't consider this a super team at all. At all. Not close to a super team.
No, me too, actually. Me too.
I think my biggest issue is actually Russell Westbrook here. The only way I see it is if Russ shoots 35% from three and regains his mid-range capabilities, is probably the only way I see them finding any success right now. I think if we see a shooting, maybe like 2017 version of Russ's shooting, and then less turnovers, less wild passes out on the break, but still running the floor like usual, because LeBron's one of the best when it comes to getting the defensive rebound and then looking up the court and then getting it to up the court to that runner. I think we're going to see a lot of that with Russ and LeBron, and that's going to be great. A lot of quick, easy points here and there. But when the game slows down, LeBron's going to be carrying the load. What's Russ going to be doing when the ball's in LeBron's hands, right? I just don't see it. Like, is he going to be some off-ball cutter to the rim? Is he willing to take on that role as an off-ball cutter to the rim? Because I feel like he should have probably realized that that's his only option with Houston. And one more thing. Houston, before they traded away Clint Capella, Russ was averaging 20 points a game on terrible efficiency. After they trade Clint Capella, his points per game shot up all the way up to 27.
Yeah,
He can't
I remember
have that
Yeah.
guy on the inside. He can't play alongside Dwight Howard. And if Anthony Davis can't shoot, and he struggles with shooting just like he did last year, he can't play with Anthony Davis. So
No, that's definitely a smart take.
So
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook here is the X factor, in my opinion. If he figures it out, 2017, and I know I've been talking a lot and making all these references back to different years, but 2017 shooting version of Russ, that is the best case scenario. And I think that is the winning scenario. But unlikely.
I definitely see Russell as a X factor. You did make some good points. What I'll say for the Lakers as a whole, I have two things to say just about the Lakers. A, if LeBron, just like last season, gets injured, I think if you're on the court without LeBron and you still have Russell, AD, and everyone else, I think that Russell will be able to carry the load compared to the roster last season, and they had to go to the play-in. I think that I think that's how good the roster is, that they'll still be able to keep the Lakers energized and everything, just, to be right for the playoffs. And second, for the Lakers, I do believe that LeBron James is going to have an MVP type of season. People are sleeping on LeBron James. It's because LeBron James was injured last season. And, everyone's like, yo, he's getting broken down. Again, I have Michael Jordan as the GOAT. I want LeBron to succeed. And I do believe that they will be winning the championship. But to continue on my point, this is not going to be an easy road. All I'm saying, Lakers in 6, Lakers that. They're probably going to have, they're going to go to game 7s almost every single round in the West. And then if they make the finals, they're going to play Brooklyn Nets. And if they're healthy, we don't know what happens. So the Lakers, even though people say they are a super team or they got veteran experience, they're going to face a lot of adversity, in my opinion, this season. But I do hope that it all comes out well at the end of the season and they end the season carrying that Larry O'Brien trophy. And then it'll be sick.